Hello everyone, I'm your host Black Tuna and welcome back in a new video. Now, if you're new to the channel, but even if you're old to the channel, you may not know that we used to play this little game called Everspace, which is some sort of space exploration roguelite, which is actually pretty good. It has some story going on for it. You can have different ships, you can customize them, level them up, equip them as you want, and you go through these one-shot runs. Well, now Everspace 2 has been in development for quite some time now, and on Steam there's a demo available, which I happened to play a couple of days ago, and I recorded some footage, and now I'm here to give you some first impressions, talk a little bit about the title and what are my hopes for the future of it. Now, I'm a fan of space exploration games, I am a backer of Star Citizen, yes, hate me as much as you want. I have over 300 hours on No Man's Sky, I've played Elite Dangerous, I've played EVE Online, so yeah, this is my genre. I really love space exploration, sci-fi, and all this kind of good stuff. And I also loved Everspace, so when I heard about Everspace 2 being already available for testing as a demo on Steam, I just jumped into it. Now, Everspace 2 is going to have a different concept from the original Everspace because it's going to be, as the developers say, open world. Now, this term is used a bit weirdly in this game because I don't think it is actually an open world game. They also mentioned that there's going to be a little bit of planet exploration, but this was not available in the demo, unfortunately. You would, if you tried to go on a planet, you dived on a planet, the ship would just back away from it, so you can't really do that. But as far as the core gameplay goes, I think you can already see an improvement in this demo version because the controls are much more fluid, are much more responsive. The UI is much cleaner than it used to be in the original game, and you can easily understand what's going on. Now, the game doesn't give you an introduction in this demo, there's no tutorial, but I believe there's going to be some sort of tutorial when the game releases, hopefully. So it may be a little bit confusing in the beginning for the new people coming in the franchise, but I hope you can get used to the mechanics pretty soon, because basically what you do in this game is you wander around, you destroy enemy ships, you get loot, you equip your ship as you want, you even find resources that you can trade for money, and this is basically the loop. Now, the inventory system has been completely reworked from the previous game, so now you have many more slots that you can equip stuff in. You also have storage in your ship where you can store items and goods that you can sell back to NPCs. You can store additional weapons over there so you can swap them when you want. I mean, there's tons of quality of life improvements, and the core gameplay, again, it has been enhanced, if you will. Now, in every section of space that you're going to explore, there's going to be even some random quests appearing, secondary quests, that you can complete for additional rewards, and who knows, perhaps they are going to give you some extra intel and lore on the story of the game. Because again, this seems to be a direct sequel to the original game, and in the original game you happen to be a clone. So I don't know where the story is going to pick up here and where it's going to lead, but yeah, there seems to be some sort of story going on, and I hope the secondary quests tie in somehow with what you're doing with your main objective. Now, it's hard to tell from the demo because there's not even voiceovers in the game, there's just subtitles, but a man can dream, right? So yes, I'm still talking about sectors in this game, even though they clearly mention it's an open world game, and this is why I said in the beginning of the video that I don't think this game is an open world game. Let me explain you how it works. So when you spawn, you are in this area in space, so it's very much open, so you can go pretty far into the distance, but there's a limited amount of things to do in this area, so eventually you're gonna be wanting to move to the next area, and this game being open world, you may think that you just take off and fly to another area, to another planet, to another system, and does it work like that? Yes and no. Meaning that you have to engage hyperdrive to go to another location, and the way hyperdrive works is not the way hyperdrive in Star Citizen works, for example, where the objective really exists over there and you're really traveling from point A to point B. That's not how it is. So when you engage hyperdrive, you go in a different mode. As if when you're in your normal exploration, you are on a plane. You know, every area that you want to reach is on a different plane. So when you engage hyperdrive, you just basically lift up from your plane and you go to another plane like this, alright? I don't know if I made myself clear, but that's how it seems like it works. And the issue with this is that it's not even seamless, because there are some loading screens that are well hidden, because basically every time you enter or approach an area, there's going to be some white screen and then you actually enter the area. So they are trying to hide this loading screen because they have to load the location that is not really there until you reach it. For example, if you're flying toward a location that is a cluster of asteroids, those asteroids are not really going to be there until you reach the location and you get out of the hyperdrive. So I'm not sure if this can be called open world, because it's not really open world. You cannot really go where you want, whenever you want. You still have to go through a loading screen and you enter different areas through some sort of fast travel system. While you're fast traveling, you can also be approached by enemy ships and you have to complete some sort of mini game to avoid being caught. If you are caught, you are just gonna have to fight them off or die. Now, those fights are not particularly hard. You can complete one of those in a couple of minutes, and I think it's actually easier to just be caught and deal with the enemies than constantly go over this mini game over and over again if you're traveling a long distance. And now, don't get me wrong, I have nothing against instanced areas, because the first game was like this. You would move through sectors and they would become progressively harder. But the thing is that they call it open world, which I don't think it's the correct word for it. Now, what I think they mean by open world is that you can go back to previous locations and you can pick and choose what locations you want to go to and travel from there. And this is not how it happened before, because in the previous game you had to basically be on a path and you had to go through some selected locations for you. They were procedurally generated, yes, but you didn't have the freedom to go back to a previous location or, you know, explore freely as you wanted. And again, I have nothing against this form factor. I just think the word open world does not fit this exploration system. Also because of the loading screens, because come on, that white screen is ugly. And the thing is that when you enter an area, you can see things pop up in front of you. So it's apparent that those locations do not exist until you reach the place. Now, there's a lot of new activities that you can do in the locations. Now, there are even dark creatures that you have to collect and escort to their partners, and you have to do so by remaining in the shadows and not letting the sunlight hit you or hit the creature, because otherwise they would go back to their location. And if you do that, in the end, they're gonna give you a reward, which is basically dark matter. Now, it seems like fuel is not gonna be a problem anymore. Fuel was basically my main concern in the original game. I was always having problems with fuel because you were always running out of it, and without fuel you cannot progress to the next location. Now, in this beta, I've never run out of fuel and I've traveled left and right for miles and miles, like for light years actually. So I don't know if or how they are going to prevent you and gate you from reaching certain locations immediately, because I believe that of course there are going to be better locations that are richer in resources and they have maybe better equipment for you, and of course if you reach that location immediately without no constraint whatsoever, you're going to be way too powerful for the early areas already, I mean immediately as soon as you start the game. So I'm not sure if they want to do that and if they want to gate you, and how they're going to do that if the fuel is not a concern immediately. Now, in this demo there were only a few areas accessible, and even in hyperdrive you can travel as far as you want. Like, you can really go as far as you fucking want. The only issue is that even if you go as far as you want, you're not gonna find locations. Because you know, to exit a hyperdrive you have to find a location to point at, press the button and let the ship go to that location. Otherwise you will be stuck in hyperdrive basically forever. So yeah, that's the issue. You could go as far as you wanted, but you would not find anything to do past a certain point. Now, the cool thing is that huge objects like the sun and the planets, they are visible in the distance, and you can actually, those are the only objects that if you travel at and you are very far away from them, you can actually see being there, existing, and they become bigger and bigger as you approach. And it's actually a very cool thing to do, because visually this game is a big improvement over the previous one. The graphics are so clean, the vistas are pleasing to look at. It's graphically very solid, and even the musics are very good. To be completely honest with you, I don't remember how the musics of the first game were. and I'm gonna have to go and have a look at those, but I think they did a good job with the ones in this one. Now, as far as the demo goes, this was basically all the content available for us at the moment, and it's on Steam. If you want, you can go there and play it for yourself and judge for yourself, and my thoughts on it are as follows. Basically, I enjoy all the improvements that they've made from the previous game. Meaning, of course, graphics and sounds, those ones were already granted. Controls and combat system, I think they did a good job. Now the ships feel much more fluid and you can maneuver them much better. The inventory system is a huge plus. Now you have much more control over the customization of your ship. Now, the cosmetic customization was not available in the demo, so I'm talking strictly about weapons and equipments. New enemy types and boss types that you can find already from the get-go as soon as you start the game. I like the fact they increased the amount of activities that there are in each sector, and some of them seem to have extra dialogues or backstory to them. I like the way how you can travel from one location to another freely, and you can also come back to previous locations as you please, and you don't have any fuel constraint. The only issue that I have with all of this is that it's referred to as open world, where I don't think open world is the right word for it. I really hope they do have voiceovers in the game, because as of the beta, there is no voiceover, there's no voice acting, and there's only subtitles even for the major events. So I really hope they work on that and they do have some audio, some voiceovers like they had in the first game, which was actually very good. But I think this is everything that I have for you today. You let me know what you guys think if you tried the Everspace 2 demo, and if you didn't, just go down in the description below. I will have a link for you so you can just click on it and go on the page, download it and try it for free. Because this is everything that I had for you today. If you enjoyed the video, please do click the like button, subscribe and leave a comment down below, because I will see you again in the next video.